name is Sabria Smith. I'm the director of the Rescue 100 program, which is the faith-based initiative within the Mississippi Department of Child Protection Services. Our goal is to recruit, train, and support foster families through engage in the church community. And I am here today with Brandt and Erica Dick in Greenville, Mississippi. Welcome, and thank you guys so much for joining me.
Thank you. We're glad to be here.
Okay, so there's several things we want to talk about today. But first of all, just tell me how you got started in the fostering world.
When I was in seminary, we were in Tennessee. I went to Sewanee, University of the South, for seminary. And we actually went through all the training in Tennessee to be foster parents. And it didn't transfer, so we just kind of put it on the back burner and for a while, and ended up actually adopting our daughter from China.
Parishioner went to Brandt and wanted to do something with foster care as a outreach ministry, and so she kind of got the ball rolling on a ministry within the church. And because it had always been on our heart, I kind of invited myself to be a part of that. I was able to go to a social worker appreciation luncheon, a director talking about the things that he had seen and how hard the job is and how appreciative he was for the social workers. And while I was sitting there, I heard God say, it's time to do this again. We started, and then we had a few short-term, and then we've had our children that we adopted through foster care. We've had them for 3 years.
The foster care ministry that you talked a little bit about here in the church, tell me a little about its origin and how it began.
Well, it's called Annis's Children because we were very fortunate here at the church that a parishioner left an endowment to the church to be used for outreach. And her name was Annis Walcott. And so that provided the money to be able to do this ministry. And as she mentioned, the parishioner who decided on her heart she wanted to do something. And we talked about it, and she found foster care to be a way to go. And started out with the Christmas party for the foster kids. I said, well, what we really need, our usual sponsors don't do it anymore, and so could y'all do the Christmas party? And we're like, yes, we can do a party. We can certainly do that. And that was kind of that was the first really main thing that we did.
And that's for the foster children and foster families to come
yes.
to?
Yes.
So they had like 150 kids and parents and
year,
such,
yeah,
and 40 or 50 volunteers from the parish who came, and we fed them supper and had Santa Claus come, and but we also put together stockings for each child. They had some stuff in there, and it was great, and people from the church enjoyed themselves, and like, can we do more? Oh yeah, there's always more. And there they went in and talked to the social workers here and got an idea of where we could be of use in what they're doing.
It's developed over the course of the almost 5 years now. Our idea was when the children were coming into care, that they would have a bag with a blanket and some toiletries, something to comfort them their first night in care. However, we learned over the course of the 4 years that that's not really the biggest issue
In our area.
In our local county, our system, in our community. That the focus is more on our keeping families together, and that's where we kept getting calls from social workers that I have a family I'm working with and we're trying to do this, and maybe they needed a refrigerator, or maybe they needed a stove, a family that needs beds. So that's really where we found ourselves going, especially in the past year and a half or so, is working with those families.
More prevention before we even have to take kids into custody, before there's that extra trauma on that family.
The kids, it's not that there's a danger, something going on, it's just life. I remember one family, the poor woman she had like 4 kids, I think, and they were always going to school, always clean, and you had clean clothes and all that, but they were living off of a hot pot and a cooler. And so we were able to get them a stove and a refrigerator, and it's changed their lives.
So it sounds like for you guys to make that successful, you have to have a pretty good working relationship with your local CPS
Absolutely.
office. Can you talk to me a little bit about how that got started?
One aspect of our ministry that we also do is we do things for our social workers, because they are very tapped out and they need just some just to know that we're there, we're praying for them, We love them, they can trust us, we're not going anywhere, we are a staple in their lives. And so through that, I think it's developed. If they ask for it, we're gonna do our best to get it. We might not always be able to get it, whatever it
But
is.
they know they can ask.
But they know they can ask, and they know that we will do our best.
As a parish ministry, we try really hard to be partners and not try to be saviors.
Right.
We're not coming in to fix their problems. We're there to work with them and do what part we can. That it's about working with and not doing for. And I think that makes a difference.
One thing that I talk to churches about a good bit is just getting started, do something. I know that you use that same language too. She just came to you and said, I want to do something. Because we feel like everybody's called to get involved in one way or another. That may not mean that you're being a foster parent, but maybe you're supporting on some level. And the closer you get to foster care, that proximity to it, you kind of start to realize it's maybe isn't quite as scary as I imagined it to be.
A lot of the members are involved in this because it is something hands-on. And of course, like, we couldn't do the Christmas party this year, but that's always a very popular thing that people want to be part of because they can see the joy
Right.
that it brings. The hardest part is figuring out where to start because we had no clue. And what helped was just calling up CPS and saying, what do y'all need? And then where can what we do fit in with what you need done?
Don't be afraid to let it change. Like the comfort bags that you mentioned earlier, most of our money is going to prevention this year. That's where our budget is. Another thing that we do, and I don't know that I've ever told you about this, is last year we did like a shopping day for some of our in-home prevention families. They can come and we'll have all these clothes and they can shop for clothes. They can get any toiletries they need. We'll give them these bags full of stuff.
But see, if there are churches who feel like, well, we're too small to do anything, organizing with other people in the community.
Yeah, absolutely. Other churches or other service organizations. There are things that can be done without a lot of money. The treats for the social workers, that doesn't cost a lot and people are happy to do things like that.
As a social worker, I absolutely love that. If someone's watching and they say, I've kind of thought about becoming a foster parent, but maybe they're hesitant for one reason or another, what kind of advice would you give to them?
I would say people tell me all the time, I just don't think I could do it. It would break my heart, having to give the kid back. If I can love that child just like the children in my home, then I know that I did everything I could in that short amount of time to give that child the best chance that they could have. We had a couple that were 4 days long, and you just love them, and you pray for them when you send them off that everything's going to be okay after that. I would rather my heart break than a child's heart break.
Pre-COVID, we also sponsored a monthly foster family support group as well. And one of the big things there was about attachment, especially in younger children. And that's the downside to attachment, is that if they're attached, it's going to hurt when they're not with you anymore. But that means it's working.
It's not easy. I'm not going to say it's easy. And the heartbreak or the day-to-day, Brandt's over 50 and I'm approaching 50 and we have 2 toddlers, and it's not easy. Well, it definitely has its challenges, but they're my kids and I wouldn't trade them for anything in the world.
It's definitely improved my preaching when I talk about being adopted as children of God. That I can say with absolute certainty that it doesn't matter how you got into the family. Once you're there, you're there. Try not to use the excuse, well, I can't do the big thing, to stop you from doing whatever thing you can do. Because they're all big things. They all make a huge difference.
There are a lot of things, just things that help foster parents during those trying times, an extra meal or help tutoring with the kids, or, an afternoon off, or homework help, just anything like that. Those are easy things to do that don't cost any money.
Well, thank you both so much for what you're doing here in Washington County and for talking with me today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for...
If you guys want to learn more about becoming a foster parent or how your church can get involved in supporting the foster care system in general, please reach out to us and we would be glad to point you in the right direction. Thank you so much.